Biomed, Nexus Daily Updates, your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR. The Pharma Letter published an analysis of the CDMO sector on June 11th, showing the outsourced manufacturing boom is becoming increasingly uneven, with scale advantages concentrating among larger players while smaller CDMOs face margin pressure and capacity utilization challenges. Merck acquired a WuXi vaccines facility in Ireland, according to the Pharma Letter, adding vaccine manufacturing capacity, while WuXi continues to divest overseas assets amid Biosecure Act uncertainty and US regulatory pressure. Global pharma trade bodies pressed G7 leaders to put pharmaceutical innovation at the center of their economic agenda ahead of the summit, according to the Pharma Letter. Separately, Pfizer is weighing additional German investment, even as Lilly and Boehringer pulled $1 billion each from the country earlier this month. 12 biotechs have gone public in 2026 with a median raise of approximately $300, according to Biopharma Dive, confirming the IPO window as the healthiest since 2021. Novo Nordisk CEO Mike Dostar told Fierce Pharma he always believed the company did actually need to become more competitive, reinforcing the strategic urgency behind Novo's oral Wegovy launch, the ADA data presentations, and its pursuit of pipeline diversification. Executive takeaway: we have covered individual CDMO deals throughout this series: Macrogenics, Spora, 122, 5M, Corden Pharma, Ambiopharm, Daiichi Sankyo's 606 million manufacturing charge, but have not stepped back to assess the broader CDMO landscape. The Pharma Letter's analysis does that. The outsourced manufacturing sector is booming in aggregate, but the benefits are not evenly distributed. Larger CDMOs with biologics, cell therapy, and ADC capabilities are seeing strong demand and pricing power. Smaller CDMOs focused on traditional small molecule manufacturing face commoditization, margin compression, and overcapacity in certain geographies. The Iran war, supply chain disruptions, Section 232 tariffs, and Biosecure Act pressures are all reshaping where and how pharma manufactures, and CDMOs that positioned for these shifts early are outperforming those that did not. Merck's purchase of a WuXi vaccines facility in Ireland is a specific data point in this dynamic. WuXi is divesting international assets as its US business model faces regulatory uncertainty, and Western pharma companies are acquiring the capacity at what may prove to be favorable valuations. Read, full analysis, what to watch, BIO International Convention, June 22-25. San Diego, 2 weeks out, the industry's largest partnering event, CDMO, licensing, and M&A discussions. We will cover significant announcements. Revolution Medicines, CNPV filing, still awaited. 11 days post-ASCO plenary. Lilly Foundayo, T2D filing, confirmed at ADA this week. Submission imminent under CNPV. Medicare, GLP-1 bridge, July 1st, 19 days out. Section 232 pharma tariffs, July 31, 49 days out for large companies. September 29th for all others. CDMO and manufacturing. The CDMO boom is becoming more uneven. The Pharma Letter published an analysis on June 11th examining how the outsourced manufacturing sector's growth is concentrating among fewer, larger players. Key dynamics. Outsourced manufacturing has become part of the basic infrastructure of the pharma industry. Large drug makers use it for flexibility, specialist capacity, and regional supply. Smaller biotechs use it because most cannot build plants of their own. But the boom is not lifting all boats equally. CDMOs with advanced capabilities, biologics, cell and gene therapy, ADC conjugation, mRNA, are seeing the strongest demand. CDMOs focused on traditional oral solid dose manufacturing face overcapacity and pricing pressure. The Iran war, Section 232 tariffs, and Biosecure Act are accelerating the geographic redistribution of manufacturing capacity from Asia and the Middle East to the US and Europe. Merck buys WuXi Vaccines facility in Ireland. Merck acquired a WuXi Vaccines manufacturing facility in Ireland, according to the Pharma Letter. The deal adds vaccine production capacity in Europe at a time when domestic and allied nation manufacturing is increasingly valued under the Section 232 and biosecure frameworks. WuXi has been divesting international assets as its US-facing business model faces regulatory pressure. For Merck, the acquisition provides additional capacity for its expanding vaccine and biologics pipeline, including SAC-TMT ADC manufacturing needs in a jurisdiction outside both US tariff exposure and Chinese regulatory risk. Policy Pharma Trade. Bodies pressed G7 on Innovation Agenda. Global branded drug trade bodies urged G7 leaders to put pharmaceutical innovation at the center of their economic agenda in a pre-summit statement, according to the Pharma Letter. The statement called for policies favorable to R&D investment, intellectual property protection, and regulatory harmonization. The push comes as pharma companies navigate competing policy pressures, US tariffs and MFN pricing, EU healthcare reforms, Germany's Lilly Boehringer pullback, and Chinese regulatory assertiveness, Decree No. 834. Pfizer weighs German investment as peers. Pushback. PFE, the Pharma Letter, reported that Pfizer is weighing additional investment in Germany even as Lilly and Boehringer Ingelheim pulled more than $1 billion each from the country in response to a healthcare reform initiative. Pfizer's willingness to invest where competitors are withdrawing could give it a competitive positioning advantage in Europe's largest pharma market, or it could reflect a different assessment of the reform's long-term impact. Capital market style. Biotechs have IPO'd in 2026 at a median of $300 million. Biopharma Dive reported that a dozen drug makers have gone public in 2026, raising a median of approximately $300 million each. Total IPO proceeds exceed $3.6 Key names: Kailera, 625 minutes, Parabilis, 475 minutes terms, Odyssey, 304 FIPS, Generate Biomedicines, Seaport Therapeutics, Hemab Therapeutics. The median of $300 million is approximately 3x the historical average for biotech IPOs, reflecting larger, later-stage companies entering the public market with more capital and more advanced pipelines. Biotech launches. Ethereal. Bio launches with 1:1 metas for thyroid disease. Ethereal Bio launched with 1:1 mets in funding on June 10th to develop an antibody therapy for thyroid disease, according to the Pharma Letter. The company targets an autoimmune-driven thyroid condition with limited current treatment options. Orionis Novartis, molecular glue. Collaboration. Orionis Biosciences signed a molecular glue collaboration with Novartis on June 10th, according to the Pharma Letter. Molecular glues are small molecules that redirect the cell's protein degradation machinery to destroy disease-causing proteins. The modality has attracted significant pharma interest following the clinical success of cereblon modulators, BMS's mezigdomide cell MODI platform, and is viewed as a next-generation approach to targeting undruggable proteins. The Week in Review. June 8th, Monday, Parabilis IPO terms, 475 minutes. Roche chairman called tariffs blackmail. Alnylam, Inceptive AI for RNAi. Biogen Solanazine, breakthrough for SMA. June 9th, Tuesday, GSK Nuvalent, $10, 6B, largest GSK deal in a decade. 2 FDA review lung cancer drugs. Insight, Vega, $1, 25B. ADA, Foundayo beat semaglutide and T2D, filing confirmed. June 10th, Wednesday, Biospace, Lilly 25B+, captures half of Pharma's 2026 deal capacity. Sanofi Riliprubart, mobilize. Phase 3 stopped in CIDP, Hikma 297 meters Ohio investment. Ethereal Bio, 101 method launch. June 11th, Thursday. Novo CEO Dustar competitiveness interview. CDMO boom analysis. Merck buys WuXi Ireland facility. Pharma trade bodies press G7. Pfizer weighs German investment. The week ahead. June 22nd to 25. BIO International Convention, San Diego, imminent. Revolution Medicines CNPV NDA filing, imminent. Lilly Foundayo, T2D filing under CNPV, July 1st. Medicare, GLP-1, Bridge Program launches, July 31st. Section 232, Pharma tariffs, effective, large companies. August 22nd, Capricor Deramiocel PDUFA, Duchenne cell therapy. Read full analysis, Biomed, Nexus. Pro-Institutional Intelligence Brief, CDMO winners and losers. The CDMO landscape is bifurcating. Winners, large-scale biologic CDMOs, Lonza, Samsung Biologics, Fujifilm Diosynth, specialty CDMOs with ADC conjugation or cell gene therapy capabilities, and UST-based CDMOs benefiting from Section 232 onshoring incentives. Under pressure, traditional small molecule CDMOs facing overcapacity, Asian CDMOs facing biosecure and tariff headwinds, and subscale players that cannot invest in the advanced capabilities pharma increasingly demands. The Macrogenics Chudbora deal, 122, 5M, illustrates the dynamic. A biotech selling manufacturing assets it cannot afford to maintain to a CDMO that can. Corden Pharma Ambiopharm illustrates the consolidation play, acquiring US-based peptide capacity for GLP-1 manufacturing. And Daiichi Sankyo's 606 meters ADC manufacturing charge illustrates the complexity. Even large pharma companies struggle with advanced manufacturing at scale. For BD teams evaluating CDMO partnerships, capability matters more than cost. The cheapest CDMO is not the best CDMO if it cannot manufacture your ADC, cell therapy, or mRNA product at commercial scale with FDA-compliant quality. WuXi, the biosecure effect. WuXi's divestiture of its Ireland vaccine facility to Merck is part of a broader pattern. WuXi AppTec, WuXi Biologics, and WuXi Vaccines have been restructuring their global operations in response to the Biosecure Act, which restricts US government contracts with certain Chinese biotech companies. While WuXi is not directly named in the legislation, the regulatory uncertainty has prompted a strategic pivot: divest international assets, focus on the Chinese domestic market, and let Western buyers absorb the overseas capacity. For Merck, the Ireland facility adds vaccine manufacturing in an EU jurisdiction with established regulatory frameworks and no tariff exposure to either the US or China. It is a low-risk acquisition of high-value capacity. 2026 IPO scorecard metric 2026, YTD 2025, full year number of IPOs 12, 15 median raise, 300 boldest, 115 total, proceeds 3, 6 B last comes ones, 8 B largest, Kylera, 625 been in, and the 2026 IPO market has already doubled 2025's full year proceeds in half the time. The median raise of 300 millers, or approximately 3x historical average, reflects a structural shift. Companies are staying private longer, raising more venture capital, and entering the public market with more advanced pipelines and larger capital needs. This benefits investors, more data before IPO, but reduces the number of IPO opportunities. Fewer companies need public capital. Catalyst calendar, June 2026. Forward date event tickers, June 22-25 BIO International Convention, San Diego. Multiple imminent Revolution Medicines, CNPV, NDA filing RVMD imminent Lilly. Foundayo T2D filing under CNPV LLY 2026 XI DDSMT NIB PDUFA ROS1 NSCLC GSK NUVL 2026 Niladalkib PDUFA ALK NSCLC GSK NUVL Q3 2026 Revolution Medicines Daraxonrasib approval projected Truist RVMD July 1 Medicare GLP-1 Bridge Program launches LOY NVO Q3 2026 Teva Emailx close expected Teva Q3 2026 GSK Nuvalent close expected GSK July 31 section 232 Pharma tariffs effective, large companies, multiple August 22 Capricor, Deramiocel, PDUFA, Duchenne cell therapy, SAPRH2 2026 Merck, SAC, TMT global filing, expected MRKH2 2026 Foundayo, T2D regulatory action expected LOS 2026 Triumph 2, Retatrutide T2D, readout expected LOI DEC 2026 Minerales, Lorundrostat, PDU FAMLIS 2027 Retatrutide launch, anticipated BM Olicept, 19 Ultragenics, UX111, PDUFA, Sanfilippo Type A gene therapy, Recept 29 Section 232 Pharma tariffs, effective all other companies. Multiple deck, 7 Lilly Investment Community Meeting LLY, visit the Pro Hub read. Full article, is your company listed in the Biomed Nexus directory? 20 Hospital 4 companies across 14 categories. Claim or upgrade your listing. Sponsorship slots for 2026 are limited. See packages and pricing. New Biomed Nexus signals weekly sales intelligence for life sciences BD teams. Learn more